should we start with like a little primer?
Yeah, let's start in case anyone is joining and hasn't messed with skills and is coming in like totally blind, which is, I mean, we're all learning. So you got to start somewhere. And skills are also like 6 weeks old max. This is not like ancient technology that you're behind on.
So this is a standard that Anthropic came out with. And this is like a skill is kind of, this is not the post I was looking for. Maybe it is example GitHub repo. This, I guess, is a little better. So they are basically markdown files, but they're special markdown files that sit inside of a specialized folder, and they outline a very somewhat strict set of guidelines for the AI to follow to do specific tasks. So for UI, for example, maybe you want to develop a repeatable pattern to build like login pages or something. You might say, this is what a login page generally looks like. It has a username field, a password field, and I want it laid out this way, centered on the screen, so on and so forth. Give some examples of what the output code might look like. And then the next time you need to make a login page, you can just say, use the login page skill to create a login page for me. And then it's going to reproduce the same thing more deterministic than it would if you just prompted it in kind of one shot and just said, like, make me a login page. It might get a bit creative if it didn't have a skill. You might get a different result every single time, basically. With a skill, you're going to get more targeted results every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit, too, about the overlap with MCP?
Yeah, so an MCP is similar in the regard that you're giving the AI more context to do some sort of task, but usually MCPs reach out to an external resource. So MCPs are generally pulling in another service, another type of app. Maybe you've got an MCP that, like for ours, for example, the Telerik UI generator or Kendo UI generator MCP, that's pulling data from our services somewhere in our infrastructure that are answering questions about components and how the APIs work. They're referencing documentation. They're referencing APIs for our CSS design system and that sort of stuff, and bringing extra context in for the AI assistant to use. Where skills are more like example driven. These are specific tasks I want you to perform. We're not grabbing necessarily outside data from anywhere to do it. So it's like a different hierarchy of stuff. So if you think of it like front-end folks will understand this, like the atomic design, like you have like your atomic pieces that build up into the larger bits of the UI. The skills are kind of that atomic level. You can have skills that build up into a prompt and then a markdown instructions file that contains kind of like the global scope of all the things that you would like it to reference in its context.
Thank you for catering that to me specifically.
I gave that example yesterday on Eat Sleep Code, I think. So
it's a good one. I like that.
I think it's a good analogy that works. So I showed this on Eat Sleep Code yesterday. And for those of you joining us that don't know what the heck an Eat Sleep Code is, I do a podcast every week on Thursday where we cover all sorts of stuff. There's usually not a demo of any kind, but just because I wanted to talk about this, I pulled it up. I've been building an SDK for another product of ours in the Progress family. And I'm in the process now of writing functional tests. And I started writing the functional tests manually first because I didn't want to kind of like put in a prompt and let this thing go nuts and just build a bunch of stuff. Because I didn't want a bunch of spaghetti code that was not like anything I knew how it worked. I'm going to
didn't want a bunch of spaghetti code
at some point. Yeah.
Like, that's not what I heard vibe coding is about.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to maintain some AI generated slop. So what I ended up doing is I wrote the very first functional test. Let's see if I can find one of them. So to maybe make a little bit more sense of what these look like. Yeah, so here's a functional test, and it's got like our fact, what the test is doing. It's got a category, so I can find what part of the API it belongs to, and then there is like a setup procedure, and then it goes through the like uploading a file to our cloud, and then running some of the API commit or the SDK APIs against that resource to make sure that it was created successfully and all of the bits and pieces are there, and basically exercising the SDK, and then it reports back on whether that was successful or not. So I wrote one of these by hand, and then I went into a prompt and I said, take this functional test, and I want to make more of these, create a skill that creates these type of functional tests. When I did that, let's see, there we go. You'll see I have the skill.markdown file. And this is the schema for how this works. For GitHub, if you're using other agents, if you're using GitHub Copilot, they go under .github. They go under different folders if you have different models and different agents that you're using. So if you have Claude, there's like a .claude folder, I think, that they go inside of. Or it may not have the dot preceding it. I don't know the exact one for all of the different models that are out there, but for GitHub Copilot, they go under GitHub. And then you can organize like prompts and skills. And then the skills go in the skills folder. And then there's a subfolder of the skill name. And then it's just skill.markdown after that. And there's only one skill inside of this folder. And then you have some front matter at the top. And the front matter has a name, which should also reflect to the subfolder it's under. It's a bit redundant, I know, but I didn't write the spec. Don't shoot the messenger. And then you have a description of what the skill does. This is not only for you, but it also helps the AI figure out what it is that skill is for, so it can find it and execute it. And then the skill itself. So you'll see, like, I'm telling it to use the XML documentation quotes, what type of using statements are needed to make the test work, some of the environment variables that are necessary to make the SDK work, and then a sample of what the code looks like with placeholders for like the name of the class. The fact that it needs a resource cleanup method for some things. So a lot of functional tests, you need to spin up some kind of service and like preload data that verify stuff, and you don't want that data to sit in the cloud and keep getting populated every time the test runs. So it needs a cleanup phase where it goes through and deletes out all of the things that it needed to run the tests, so you don't blow up your cloud environment. So it tells it what the resource cleanup is, when to do it, and what the pattern looks like. So we're going to dispose our resources, and so on and so forth. So this is kind of pretty detailed as to all the things that this functional test needs to run, how the coding best practices are laid out, kind of like, for lack of a better term, a template to follow to create that method. I mean, it gets pretty detailed here. But again, I didn't handwrite all of this. I had AI generate it based on what I already had.
So it's just kind of like documentation almost for the agent, right?
Yeah.
We're just taking the most relevant parts of the docs that need to be executed by the agent and writing it in Markdown, kind of in a structured order for it to parse as context, right?
Right. And it's not as loose as a prompt. It's a little bit more strict than a prompt. And there's some things that I'm not doing here that you can totally do as well. You can add scripts to these so they can execute scripts on their own. So if I had something that I wanted this to execute, I could actually give it a Python file, a .NET file, whatever can be executed in my environment. And maybe there's something I want to run after this process is done. or something that needs to be run in order to create this resource. That type of script can be included in this as well. And I've even seen people do this. I haven't quite figured out what the trigger mechanism is, but you can have them create prompts. And I don't mean prompts as in like AI prompts, but like user prompts, so like dialogues. And when you run the skill, it will actually come up with a dialogue inside of your chat window that says, for example, if we had a button we were creating with a skill, it might come up and ask us, do you want the color of the button to be, red or green or blue? And you can just click on like the item, the color that you want, and it'll execute that button color. So you can get really creative with these things.
That's neat. So you kind of can put in intentional like human in the loop checkpoints where you ask it to like break out of its work and ask your opinion.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I don't know what drives those choices. Like I haven't gone that far into them, but I know that's possible.
That's cool. That feels like it would make it a lot more like flexible. Sorry, Alyssa, I didn't mean to yap over you.
I'm just curious about, because I just generated a skills file for Angular, React, and Blazor. And I'm curious about, could we bite-size this and test it? Because like I know how to plug in an MCP server into whatever my IDE is. How do you plug in this? Is it per project or can you do it globally? And like, is there like a quick proof of concept that we could almost be like, this is our button skills, right, file, and let's make a rule in it, plug it in, and then see if it uses it, like, and that way we can kind of like more broadly start build. I don't, because I think I need the basics before I.
Sure. So I'll show you where these get surfaced up. So I have my skill created here, and I can show you the workflow that I used for this. So I had my initial skill, and then I wanted to create like another unit test or functional test. So if you hit / in Visual Studio, you'll get this kind of command window that pops up. And I'll hit / and this one's called nuclei functional tests. And then I can say, all right, use this skill, and then I can type in, create a functional test for, and then whatever feature. And then it will go off and run that. So that's one way to do it. That's a little too manual. I wanted to fly a little faster than that. So I did that a few times just to validate that the skill worked. And then once I had that working, I created a prompt. So now I have a prompt here called a new functional test prompt. And I can execute this and just give it the name of an API that I want this to create a test for, and it'll just go off and do it. Like it's a lot less friction that way. So initially when I wrote the skill, what I asked it to do is scan the assembly and look for stuff that has not been tested yet, and then grab the next thing in the queue and test it. So that's what this prompt file ended up being. So I can just execute this prompt, and I can just say / new functional test, and it'll go off and grab one test and create it just without without specifying exactly what that one thing is. It'll just go pick something that's not tested, create a test for it, run the test. So then I was like, okay, that works well. Let's scale this up further. Like I can handle one test at a time. I can probably handle 10 tests being created at a time. So what I did next is I created just a one-shot prompt, and I went in to here, and I said create a plan for create functional tests, so it's manageable. Create future expansion, needs to start testing interfaces, yada, yada, yada. I gave it all of the interfaces that need to be tested. And then I told it when it was done making the plan that I want it to put me in the loop after every interface gets tested. So now it'll create a group of tests. It's like going to be between 10 to 20 tests. But then it's going to stop and wait for me to go back and validate that all 20 of those tests are what I want before it goes on to the next set of tests. So now I've scaled it from one to many to groups, and I've kept the human in loop process. So it's that kind of shows you the scope that you can create with these things. Does that help, Alyssa?
Kind of. I guess I'm still fuzzy on the actual, because like right now I'm in Cursor, for instance. So like plugging in skills, I guess it's not universal as far as your stack and
it's not universal as far as the AI. So Cursor, I don't know what Cursor is using. What's the LLM that Cursor uses?
That's a great question. Zach, what LLM does Cursor use? You don't know? I don't know either. I can Google
All of
it.
them?
I'm like clicking
Can't you
on
change it?
agent
Palm
and
says all of them.
I was say I thought you could select from what you wanted, the same way you can like
Yeah.
do that drop
So
down in like ChatGPT.
it
or
might be
whatever.
more like who's hosting it, like what's the host environment there. Let's see.
I created like a skills test basic file for like when we're generating something in the UI. And I was curious, Ed, if I send you it, can you like just show me like plugging it in and then like running a quick test to like make a semantic element or something like with that skills file?
So it
So
looks
I can
like
see the full
Cursor goes
flow?
under .cursor/skills.
Oh, there's actually a place for it.
Yeah. And then it shows this is how you do
in
it
the
globally.
project.
You'd have a Cursor skills file that's just nested deeper within the project structure. So it goes off the hierarchy of the file system. So if it's at the project level, it'll be in the project. And if it's at the root level of several projects, it'll be in all of those projects.
Okay.
Where Copilot goes under .github. So I could probably move this .github file up in hierarchy and it'll make it more global to more things, but it's only valid for this project, so I'm gonna keep it there. But we could do a Blazor one. I have Blazor. I don't have any JavaScript installed, so
I just made a Blazor skills sheet for Telerik Blazor.
Okay.
Do you want to like try using it and see if I just generated a Telerik Blazor skills file. Can you plug it in and see if it's any good?
Let's do a new project and find out.
Yeah. What is the best way to send this to you, Ed? Because you're screen sharing. And so I'm like, how do I? You want me to Discord use some Markdown?
Just throw it in a gist and then share the gist.
Gist, okay. I'm still thinking Discord Markdown is the best way, but gist is good too. I'll go make one.
I mean, Discord chats are formatted with Markdown. It is actually, that is what made me much better at writing Markdown, if I'm completely honest, is the ability to format all my comments. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm using the Telerik UI
because we're streaming to Discord, right?
We are, with the asterisk that it does not seem to be picking up my personal audio. For some reason that I have yet to be able to solve, people that are listening in Discord can hear you and Ed, but not me. So
right. So we have a new project.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Skills. I put it all in one file. Hopefully that's not upsetting to you.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Create a secret gist. I don't care if it's secret. Make it public.
So this is I did a file new project with the Telerik wizard that gives you a brand new template. This is like similar to like the React create type of thing, or what's the Angular version, Alyssa? ng new or something like that.
Are you talking about the CLI?
Yeah, to create like a new project.
Or you just ng new? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just say ng new.
Same thing.
Look at you guys.
It did that for me. It did a .NET new for me with the Blazor stuff, and this is what you get. So we have our obligatory like counter page, weather, interactive.
I can't see your screen
page.
If you're sharing it, Ed.
Is it not sharing out?
No.
Oh, I might have it on browser share. Thank you for letting me know that. So,
I was like, I thought that was intentional. I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
it might have been at first, but Oh no, it took my screen share completely away, actually. I was sharing. It got removed. I blame one of you. Which one of you
Denied.
pressed the button? All right. So there we go. We got the file new project going on in here. So let's see. You shared a private chat somewhere with a link.
I did. I Discord it to you. I can put it in chat. I just need to figure out
throw
how
it in
to.
our
Do you
private
guys know
chat
how to
here.
make it not secret?
I
Hold
don't
on.
have Discord open because it was making my
I'll
thing
copy
go
it
Oh,
over
that's
into StreamYard.
Okay,
I got
cool.
this. I think I'm just
Okay.
gonna run
I'm
tech
gonna-
support.
This is totally like prepared like content, everybody. Like,
Yeah.
we
So
planned
here's the
every
gist,
minute
but
of the
I need to
day.
figure out how to make it. Here, I'm gonna screen share,
Okay.
and you guys can tell me
Okay, so
how to make it freaking public. Oh, you
I've
did it. Thank you.
I've got the
How do you
gist.
do it?
I've got the gist.
Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah,
gists
Zach
are.
logged into my GitHub and made it public, so I was just having
Okay.
him teach me, so I know how to make gists public.
I
Because
was
I
gonna
was
say
like, what
I
the
don't
frick?
think they're technically private, and like I think public just makes them searchable. I think they're accessible via link, no matter what. If I'm correct, I don't know. But
Okay.
it's been a while since I've gisted. So this is your
Just.
skill file. So I'm going to copy the gist file or the skill file, and then I'm going to get the solution view out of the way and go into the raw directory view here. And I don't have a folder. So I need to create a new folder, make sure I'm in the right hierarchy here. I need to be up a level. Let's do it.
Like, so it's just the root of the project, right? Or do you need to be
Yeah.
outside of the project?
Let me try it this way.
Because when I like generate a project in the terminal and I'm like ng new, and then I open it in VS Code, there's already a .vs Code folder for me that I can like add things like this to.
There we go.
I assume that's not the case with Blazor.
So .github, there's not going to be a .github file. That's Copilot specific. And then we need another new folder named, oh, by the way, this is a good learning point here. I used Sonnet 4.5, I think it was. Yeah, I used Claude Sonnet 4.5 and I asked it to create the skill file and it totally got the location wrong.
Huh.
So I'm assuming that this is so new that Sonnet's not trained on exactly what a skill file is, and it makes some hallucinations when it does it. Maybe like 4.6 would have worked. So like we could totally try that. Like I'll just go here and say create a new skill file for me. I don't want to give it any other context. Just see what it does. Like I had a little bit more to go by last time. Now it's talking to itself. I want to create a new skill file. This is what the user asked. Let's do that.
Can you zoom in just a smidge, Ed, up your text?
Sure. Let's see. Oh, that did not work.
Yeah, it's like your terminal is massive and all the other text is
Your
itty-bitty.
terminal, he's the problem here. No more terminal.
Let's see. I've got editor font size. They're actually all the same font size. I don't know why
No.
they seem different.
I feel like your IDE is gaslighting you.
Yeah.
Which one needs to be
100%.
bigger?
100%.
The chat one? The chat need to be bigger?
Yeah, your chat
Oh, I
text is
mean-
definitely smaller than your terminal text.
But now we can read the code, so like that's
more important.
I'm not seeing the chat window changing, by the way. Like even though
no me same.
Yeah, me too.
Copilot, there we go. Copilot chat font size. I didn't see it
But have you
change
heard of-
again.
but-
So
But have you heard of Cursor?
Dang.
Cursor is essentially the same IDE. It's literally the
It's
same
so-
thing.
Edit's so nice.
Cursor is Atom. It's still called Atom, right? What's the base IDE?
I thought Adam is like gone. Is Adam still around? I just haven't heard of Adam in a long time. I used to use it a lot.
I'm curious. because it is VS Code. Like it literally is VS Code.
Mhm.
So they are one and the same. They are just a different flavor of the same thing. So it's still okay. So it's asking me something. What is a skill for? Describe the domain or task. Create. I want it to create readme.md files. Just give it something silly. Okay, so I tried Claude Sonnet 4.6 this time. It looks like it's getting the pathing correct this time. So it's saying this workspace only is going to go into GitHub/skills. So I'm going to click on that. And
So are you creating a skill to make more skills?
I'm creating a
explain
skill
to us what's
I didn't have anything.
I made skills. Oh my god!
I just wanted to see if it would stub out the right folder structure for me because it didn't yesterday. So I asked it to make a skill that creates readme files, just to validate this works. So it looks like it got it right this time. Last time this did not work, by the way. Like it didn't.
Okay, wait. What do you mean it got it right? Like it made the file? Like
yeah, it made the file. So I tried this with AI the other day, and it got the pathing wrong. It got the structure of the file wrong. It didn't include the front matter that it needs to be recognized as a skill. And it put it like it named the file wrong, put it in the wrong folder, the whole 9 yards. So I just ended up basically with a random markdown file. So this time it worked. So it's a README generator skill. So I have a README generator skill. I'm going to go back in here. Now we can create the one that that Alyssa sent. So this is going to be, it just needs to be under, I don't like this nested view that it gives you. There we go. I think that's in skills now. And then it's all kebab case. So let's see. It's going to be, what was the skill that you gave me? What does it do?
it's for Telerik UI for Blazor specifically.
But what?
When building or modifying
component?
Blazor applications. Oh, it's for all of them, supposedly.
All of them?
Oh wow, that's a big skill.
Okay. Yeah, I think this needs to be more task
You
driven.
want
I wasn't
like,
judging. I wasn't
text
judging.
just the grid? Like I can try again. I just
Let's do a button. Let's do something dead simple, just so it's easy to understand for everybody.
button.
How
So
long? I
we're
need to
gonna
know
do
how long this
buttons.
markdown document that has a skill for every Telerik component is.
So it's only 231. I think it's really general because it like talks about theming. It talks about handling things like
Yeah.
button clicks and cell templates and drop-down lists in the editor. Like it has random bits, but like
I think that misses
I
the
don't
point
know.
of skills, though.
Does it?
Skills are supposed to be kind of
Yeah,
focused.
actually, go into more detail on that. I want to hear you say more about that.
In my opinion, skills are supposed to be more focused. They're supposed to be like what Alyssa proposed. I think works great for like a what are they called? Every system's different. That's why I always stumble on this one. A Copilot instructions file.
Mhm.
So instructions, I guess, is the short. Yeah. Skills are more granular, like Chad is saying. An instructions
Chad
file
agrees
is
with you,
more
yeah.
like what you proposed, Alyssa. Like it's great for an instructions file. Like we could totally
And
make an instructions
instructions
file
and
with
skills
that.
are different in only their granularity, or
Yes, mostly. Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
do they still have the same format? Like, do you still kebab case them and name them .markdown? Do you still import them the same way?
That's a good question. Let's let Sonnet make one. Let's do that. Let's do create a instructions file. I type poorly on live streams. And then I'll paste in this whole thing that you sent me, and let's see what it does. So this is an instructions file now. I think you used the word skill in it, so it's going to get confused.
Oh.
Mm.
Let's see what happens. It looks like it's figuring it out. So we should see something pop up in my file system here shortly. So it's going under GitHub/instructions. So there's where your instructions files are going to go. This has changed, by the way. They used to just be like, I think there was like a name like .copilot-instructions.md, but then I think it got like people started to make multiple of them and needed a way to maintain multiple instruction files. So now it's under the instructions folder, and then you can have different instruction files in there. I don't know why it's taking so long to create this, but it is. Good old vibe coding.
You know what?
I'm making
It's Friday
like,
afternoon. Who among us is at our best?
You're saying
there we go.
even AI?
Even AI.
So it added your instruction file here, and see, it's got different front matter. And it's like, oh, this applies to any Razor or program CS or razor.cs file. So I don't know if, was that in your original write-up, Alyssa, or did it imply that and put it in there?
It added that.
Okay, because it's an instruction file, it's trying to say, all right, this is general instructions for these type of files.
Okay.
And then it goes through like what you had put in there, how NuGet works and what type of...
Okay, but like, so let's
things
say
that
we're
belong in
super
there.
granular and we have a skills file for every freaking component, and maybe even skills files for how to like integrate components with each other and etc. Like all of the use cases. How are we supposed to direct AI in using which skills file when? Or do we just give them all and say, good luck with these 150 plus skills files, and it's able to still have valuable meaning out of that context?
So there's, again, a couple ways to do it. First of all, I don't know if you'd go through the process of creating a skill file for every component that there is. I
Really?
think this would be more... I
Oh.
mean, we have an MCP server that can help with that sort of
I say
thing.
that doesn't seem plausible when you have over
Yeah.
100 components. That would be
What-
a
Right,
ridiculous number of
but
skill
if
sheets
a
to maintain.
skills file isn't valuable unless it's that granular, then like what's our other
So,
option? Just
I
pick our
think-
5 favorite? Like,
No, I think you're still too broad, actually. So the MCP server covers all of that for us. Like we have the Telerik UI generator and Kendo UI generator that can answer all of those questions for the AI, and that's kind of redundant at that point. What I would do is have, maybe a button's not a good idea. Let's rename this to, let's pick like a UX scenario instead, like where it's...
oh, I just made one
maybe-
for grid. Does that count or no?
If it was a custom like implementation of a grid that you planned on repeating, I would. But like, let's try something a little bit easy, like approve and
So-
cancel buttons.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to ask what you meant by like a UX flow. So
Yeah.
like some custom implementation of a component is really what you're thinking. So like,
Right. So like,
But
let's
then
say I
that's
want
so specific
I want
to...
the ability to like show 2 buttons on a form, and like one is to cancel, one is to submit, or like what would be like another like situation there, like cancel, submit, clear. I don't know,
yeah, so
just-
reset or go
yeah,
back
reset.
or trying to think of other common UX paths.
So we could either like hand code this out and then have it create the skill off of that, or we could just try to wing it and say create a skill in, let's say, in this skill file. Is it in context? It should be because it's open, but I don't see it showing up. I have to manually add it? That's odd. There we go. Now it's in context. The little pill UI up here, if it doesn't show the file, it doesn't have it in its context. It'll have to go search for it, and I want it to be specific to this file. So I don't have to go spell out the name of all of this stuff. In this skill file, create a skill that that generates...
What if we think about it like a
UI.
form UX, right? So we want a button that maybe goes forward and back within a multi-stage form or clears everything out to let you reset the fields.
Yeah, how do you want me to write this out? So it generates a UI for a form. form should have
multiple stages, right? Like wizard style interface.
So we have a wizard component. So maybe that's a little
true. We have the
too
stepper.
broad. Let's try to stick to like just a couple buttons just for sanity's sake today.
No, that's fair. Sorry.
Form.
I wanted to do it all.
Cool. Buttons. Cancel. Submit. Reset. Let's just go with that for now and see what it does. We're just trying to make up scenarios, I think, is the hard part. Like if you're building an app, it's not as difficult to like see where you're going to find repetitiveness and things that you're going to have to repeat all of the time.
Right.
Like I have this type of page I keep having to make over and over again, or I have a data grid, but I have it with this specific set of columns, and it's financial, but I have multiple customers, and I'm gonna have to create one of these for each customer every time. Maybe you're a consultant and you're just like building the same type of apps over and over again, but they have to be different code bases because you're not allowed to share code between these customers, type of thing.
This is really interesting. Now I want to make one that's like for design system implementation, right? With the idea that like if you're always starting with the Kendo components and you want to create the same kind of general set of tokens or whatever in a design system, and like the colors and stuff would be different. Not saying we should do this right now. I'm just brainstorming because you said it and it sounded cool. But right there, the actual implementation would be different because every customer's brand would be different, but also you'd be building off the same like base set. So I wonder if you could write a skill that would help. Like,
you probably could, yeah. I think that would be a good use case for it. So it's created the skill, and the name again matches the subfolder it's under. And it says generate Telerik UI for Blazor form with a cancel, submit, reset buttons. Use when, and see this use when, Alyssa, I think this answers part of your question. Like how do we know when to use it? How does the AI know when to use it?
Yeah.
The description is a big part of this. So whether you're building like functions for your AI to call, skills for your AI to use, MCP servers for your AI to consume, there's always a description field on all of these things. And that description is not for humans. It is also for humans, but it is for the AI to pick up and use. These are like mini context pieces. So when it scans the directory that it has for skills, it's going to look at all these descriptions. And depending on what task it's up to, it might go, oh, wait, this one does a thing I'm about to do. And it'll pick that skill up and start using it. So you don't have to spell it out. Like, this is the thing with these AI tools is that they are non-deterministic. So it's kind of annoying because it might pick up the skill and use it. It might not. There's always that scenario. But on the bright side, they use natural language like the three of us do to talk to each other to do things. So you don't have to have an if statement somewhere that says, if you're doing X, use the skill. You just put it like in the header here, and it looks through there, and it's like, oh, this might be useful to what I'm doing. I'll try that. So you got to think of it that way. It also has an argument hint. I haven't seen this one. Optional. Describe the model or entity for the format it's. Okay, so this is in Blazor, forms need a model in order to work. So it's just basically a description of what the data in the form is going to be, like the fields it has, and what those fields represent, strings, integers, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, the chat was saying, to clarify, the name, description, and argument list are inside the context of the LLM in each request. When it wants to use that skill, it then reads the whole file, which does help a lot because I feel like it's not always the case with MCP servers that I have installed. I don't think it always reaches for the appropriate one. And I sometimes have to like redirect it when I see like, oh, you didn't use the Angular MCP like server there. Like, you want to maybe use that. And so that would be, I'm really curious to start loading in skills files and seeing if it's better at like picking them appropriately versus ignoring them.
Yeah. I think MCPs are, they do have descriptions attached to all the functions that are inside of them. I don't know if it's the model's programming that it's a little bit looser with those because they can be costly in a couple different ways. As far as like tokens go, MCPs generally are more expensive, and they're usually a asynchronous task. So it's going to go out and wait for something that's external. So they cost more in time and stuff. So it might be a little more lenient on what it does, or relaxed on what it's calling. So sometimes you do have to kind of nudge them a little bit. Instruction files are actually a really good spot though to give it additional context on when to use stuff. So if you're having a problem with it calling an MCP server, create an instructions file and describe the scenario that you're having and say, when you're doing this type of activity, make sure you use this MCP. And that might fix that problem. So back to the skill file, it's just got like a header here. It's when to use it. That's kind of a redundant piece there. Probably doesn't even need that. You can go through and edit these, by the way. Gather context about the model class. So this one might actually ask us questions. If it can't infer what the model is, it may ask us to provide one, or it may try to hallucinate one. Scaffolding the component. And then when we get to the bottom, here's the button row. And it has a submit button, it has a reset button, and it has a cancel button, which is what we wanted, because that's going to be something we want to repeat. And then it talks about the button theming conventions, and so on and so forth. So let's see if we can get it to use the skill. Let's go to Solution Explorer under Components. I'm not trying to drag and drop. Components, Pages, Home. And then we'll call Copilot here and say add a form. Use the, what did we call the skill? So I can call it out directly, but I want to be a little vague this time just to see if it works. So I just told it to create a new form, use the approve and cancel skill to implement it. It found the skill file, it looks like. So I didn't have to invoke it directly. I just kind of nudged it by saying I want it to do this skill. Context engineers are the way of the agentic future is now. Yeah, we're getting to the point where the hand coding stuff, like the coding skills aren't obsolete by any means. Like I can use the SDK project I'm working on as an example. So there, like, even though it's generating functional tests, when one of those functional tests fails that it generated, I have to go in and decide, was the functional test written correctly? If it was, why is it failing? Is it failing because the API is broken, or is it failing because there's something in the functional test that's not exercising the API correctly? Then I have to go in and fix one of those things. And if it's the SDK, then I'm gonna have to dive into the SDK and make decisions on what it is that broke and why the test is failing. So like, we're far from obsolete here.
You still got to know enough to know when it's generating gibberish at you, right? I mean,
the whole cleanup thing was part of it. Like when I started generating tests from it, it wasn't doing a cleanup routine. So I'm looking at my cloud service and there's all these resources just polluting it. And I'm like, oh, I know why, because I know that when you write functional tests, you need to go in and clean up what you're testing. Otherwise you get this bad side effect. So I had to go in and instruct it, hey, you're not cleaning up your mess that you're making. So go do that. So you really do have to know your stuff. So it has created a form. It never did prompt me on a model. So it'll be interesting to see what the model is it come up with. but it says, all right, edit form @_model. That'll be tied to something down in the code section. It's got a submit handler. It correctly put in the validation logic. It's got the text boxes for a name, email, message, and there's our 3 buttons. And let's see, there should be a code section here. Inline styles are not my favorite. It was already here as part of a demo piece, so it just went ahead and adopted the strategy that was already there.
No.
I could have deleted that ahead of time, and it probably would have put this in the main HTML, or I mean the main CSS file. So that's kind of on me for leaving that demo code in there. So it's got a contact model form that it just kind of hallucinated out of nowhere. Like that was just it trying to be helpful and create something for us. The handle submit left is a template. Go ahead.
Sorry, just a general question. So talking about the CSS made me think about it. You could write skills to talk about kind of naming conventions or the way you organize a CSS file or the way you organize your architecture in general, right? And that would help it make more intelligent decisions.
Yeah, I would imagine you could do something like if you're just wanting to be granular about like a CSS thing, you could say, all right, whenever you create, maybe that's more instructions. See, this is the hard part. Like,
Yeah.
Should it be an instruction? Should it be a skill? But I was thinking like, maybe it probably would imply that. Maybe it's not a good idea. My thought process was use the light dark function to make sure that there's always a light and dark variable declared, but it could probably pick that up just by convention. Like if you have a file full of that, it's probably just going to repeat that pattern anyway. But
so wait, are these just like linters for the AI before it builds anything?
No, I wouldn't compare it to that maybe. But let's see what it did. Let's see how good this page came out. I think the 3 button scenario is actually not a bad one because you could kind of expand on this idea a little bit. I mean, you could even, what is it doing? I'm already running it somewhere. That's what it is. I tried to run it twice and it's not happy because the port's busy. And then it was supposed to be on the home page. Why am I not seeing it? Let's run an old copy. But maybe like think of it as a bigger page. Maybe we create a dashboard and we want to make multiple like dashboards. You could create a skill that creates dashboards. You have a dashboarding skill. There's my contact form. There we go. So it's got three buttons here.
Here's a question. Would you recommend, like if I'm starting a greenfield project, should I start with the project first and then build in the skills once I have context for it to reference? Should I build my skills first to instruct it on like how to make things from the get-go?
I would look for repeatable patterns that I know I'm going to be doing often and maybe work on skills for those. So
you'd have to get far enough in to start to identify repeatable patterns.
Yeah, we had a customer come on and talk about how they were using it, and they had one for like different types of pages that they were building. Like they had pages that they just kind of hammered out all the time. And they had kind of a rough idea. I mean, you could think of them as kind of templates. They're very template-like. And they had, this is what the page looks like. And whenever you create a page, it needs to be added to the menu system. So, they do /new page, type in what the type of page was they were going to build, and then it would just dump the page into the project and then connect it to the routing. It was an Angular or React app, so it would add it to the routing system, and then it would add it to the menu system. So it was like touching multiple files as it went. So it was like page, routing, menu. And it knew how to do all that from a skill. So it didn't kind of like, sometimes if you're like, just like vibe code, like add me a new page, it'll go and like change all of the navigation for whatever reason. It's just like, oh, we added a new
No, put it
page.
back.
I see you have navigation. Like, let's do something fun here. And it just like throws the navigation into some other UX pattern. You're like, why did it do that? It'll prevent stuff like that.
You know, they always joke about AI right now being a junior developer level. And I think that's actually when it's at its most junior developer-ish. It's like, you asked me to add a new page, so I reconfigured all of the nav bar for you.
I rewrote all your code.
That is absolutely junior dev-ish.
Somebody was on X the other day and they were like, you know, this is like a double-edged sword. Like I put GPT-5 or whatever it was on this project and asked it to do something, and it deleted all my unit tests. And it's like, no reason given. And then they're like, I went to Sonnet, whatever.
Unit tests can't fail if they're not there.
Exactly. It's like COVID testing.
Yeah.
It went, Sonnet went ahead and like built like 87 different like features in one shot. And it's like, okay, like, don't know why, like I got such a wide variety of like results from 2 different models, but that's what it did. Early on, I was doing one where I was building a speech visualizer in JavaScript. So it's using Canvas and it's drawing waveforms on the screen. And I vibe coded the whole thing. And I was like, all right, I personally don't know how Canvas works. Like it just made this stuff. So I'm going to like task the AI with making this more efficient. And there's a method in the Canvas rendering pipeline where it's like you render the thing and then the last line always has to be to render the next frame. So like it has a constant loop of rendering. I was like, make this more efficient. It went in and deleted the recursive function to keep rendering. I was like, well, it did exactly what I asked it to do. Like this
You're
is
not wrong. Yeah.
60 times per second more efficient than it was before.
Yeah.
Did it fail though?
That's literally like yesterday I was using our MCP servers and I was in Cursor and I was making a new app. And at one point it was like implementing Kendo UI everything, like Kendo UI grid, Kendo UI buttons, Kendo UI form. And then it was like at the very end of its processes, everything was built. It said, oh, your Angular bundle size is over limits, removing everything Kendo. And I was like, wait, stop removing.
Incredible.
So
I linked to a skills file I found in our private chat, Ed.
Oh, okay.
2. So one is I redid the Blazor grid one and put it in a gist. I'm curious if you can look through that and tell me if did I hit the mark for what a Blazor grid skills file would actually do. And then the second one is a Figma one that I found that's like all about turning Figma designs into production ready code. And so, because I'm really just still, I guess, at the base level of understanding what goes into skills. So yeah, they're both in private chat.
Translates Figma nodes into, this is still sharing, right? Yep. Into a 1-to-1 visual fidelity using Figma MCP workflow.
No need to brag about the fact that you go back and squash your commits.
I ended up starting that because in the workflow, like as you're building with AI, it gives you the option to like keep or to roll back, but it's often not super clean and sometimes leaves remnants. So like similar to Lawman, I like started making these checkpoints for AI just so that I could like stash or like hard reset back because I don't trust the tool to do it anymore. Because once you get to like a working state, you're like, oh God, nothing, don't touch.
I love the idea that AI is going to make us worse coders, but it's going to make us really, really good at Git.
That version control.
We're going to be markdown gods.
We're going to become so incredible at Git and at like squashing, merging, cherry picking.
Maybe that's my problem. I need to go to
Code
LinkedIn.
reviewing gods.
You need to get good.
Oh my God. Wow. You went there. Ed,
Well, my work
better?
here is done. Time to go.
Did I do it, Ed? Did I do it? Is this proper?
Let's see here. So yeah, like you're setting a so the grid is like probably a good example because it has so many ways of doing things. Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe boil this down to a certain like your default go-to grid that you implement. Like you want filtering and grouping and paging set up, but maybe you're not necessarily interested in having export to Excel and some of the other advanced features that it has. So you give it like all of the things that you commonly want set up, and you're like, this is the base implementation of the data grid I always want you to use. Like whenever I ask you to do a grid, this is the grid I want, and then you can go from there. So I think the grid example is a good one. I would probably make it more specific than giving it multiple examples. I would give it
guess
one.
that's where I get confused though, because in my head, if we're just giving it one prime perfect grid example for our use cases, then that's the same as just creating one per component, right? Like when people
No,
ask
not
us as
necessarily.
progress employees, where are your skills files? It sounds like it would almost be inappropriate for us to provide such a thing because it's so project and person specific.
Again, I think it needs to be more like task oriented than component oriented when it's customer asking for something. So I would
So
kind of push back and ask like, what
Can I-
exactly are you looking for? Yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
can I ask a question or make a suggestion? Do you think it would be possible to set up a skill for something like licensing, which is always a pain point, but is repetitive with every project, right? Where you have to like get your license key in and get everything like authed with your Telerik stuff, or like spinning up a new
Yeah.
project. I mean, is that even worthwhile when already stuff like the CLI tools exist? And like, I don't know. I'm thinking out loud. I was trying to think of which parts of a project are consistently repetitive and Telerik Kendo
Across
specific.
everyone.
And licensing was the first one that came up to me as like, I always have to walk people through licensing. Like-
If I can get signed into something, I have an example
Yeah.
we might be able to use. So give me
Okay.
one
We're not
sec.
going to
Talk
build the
amongst
licensing one and put
yourself.
our license keys
The
on screen.
licensing one. That's actually the reason.
Wow. I
There's
literally like caused this big bug yesterday with our MCP server where it asked for my ID, but I pasted in my license key and then it appended it to a URL and it broke the UI of the IDE because the license key is so long. So I could no longer like edit it. And like, I'm just was stuck. I had to uninstall everything to get out of that loop. So sorry. Yeah, licensing. People struggle with that, man. What's the deal?
Nobody likes a license key.
Why is Microsoft so bad at multi-tenant logins?
Oh my
I'm
God.
trying
I don't
to
even
get
know what that
to-
means. I don't even know what that means. What are you saying?
I'm trying to get to my personal account and I cannot log in because it's trying to do Face ID, which I don't have on this machine for that account. So why is it asking me for that? And it won't let me just use a password. It keeps going to Face ID, like no matter what I do.
I'm going to assume this from Napalm is in response to what are skills for.
And not logging in on Microsoft's machine.
It's a hard problem when everyone has their own opinion about attempting to run FaceTime on Microsoft.
Dude, Microsoft owns
Oh.
a lot.
I don't have.
Like
Can
they
you
own
guys
so much.
handle this for just a
Wolfman
minute? while I go
suggests you
grab
use
something?
an incognito window.
I actually need to
Should
step away
bypass
to
the
get
Face ID attempt.
you-
Wait,
Which,
he's
by the way,
gone.
is just Sil from Discord. Like,
Wait, what? Oh, the comment is from Discord?
I was saying
Are
Lolzman is Sil in our Discord, which, by
Oh,
the
in
way,
Discord. I got you.
allow me to offer you all the chance to join our highly exclusive and very fun Discord. If you're hanging out and you didn't come here from that, we have a quickly growing new Discord community called Progress Labs, where we hang out and do a bunch of this and yap and share articles and just have a good time.
Sometimes we
honestly.
even get in voice channels and like, what is it called when you work
co-work.
together? Buddy pairing, body doubling.
body doubling, co-working. It's good. It's a good it's a chill place to hang out with other developers while you're working, and you don't have to be using progress teller tools to hang out.
To come
I'm
hang out,
done.
yeah.
Not that kind of body doubling. Come hang out in our Discord where transporter accidents run rampant.
I had to go get a phone to 3-factor authentication into my
I
account.
was wondering. I was like, why is he standing up for Face
Quad
ID?
factor
Like,
off. He's just
what
out.
could this involve?
Also,
So-
Napalm, don't test me because I'm watching Starfleet Academy and it will take absolutely nothing to coerce me to talk about it.
Did we finish Starfleet Academy or we're up to date?
Somebody
We're up to date.
get in the Discord.
But this was like my first Star Trekking adventure. I don't know where to go to next.
TNG.
TNG? Is this like
The next generation. Yeah.
Okay,
so
the next generation is what Catherine says.
that's the
Zach said
that's
that's
probably
too
not this
old.
place. Oh
So
yeah.
let's have some fun.
Oh, no, hold on. What did he say? I hear he's talking and I need to know because I need to know if I need
Strange
to go.
New Worlds.
It's not bad. I like Strange New Worlds a lot, but the trouble, and I think this is a downside of a lot of new Trek, is it's very self-referential, and you can enjoy it, but you will enjoy it more if you've watched some of the classic era Trek and know what they're talking about. Here's my rant, and I promise I'll only do it for 5 minutes, then I'll stop.
Only for 5 seconds, man.
All series that run this long get self-referential because the people who are fans become the writers, and then they write fan fiction. And I love fan fiction, but that's not what this is about.
I don't necessarily know if I know what self-referential means. Can you put it in a code metaphor?
Remember when we were writing recursive loops?
Okay, I see. But when you talk about self, you mean Star Trek as a whole, not necessarily.
This is the nice thing, Ed. This is the nice thing. Yeah, no, I mean that like the stuff that's written now often calls back to plot lines and characters and things that existed in earlier era Trek, and no one is immune, right? Like Bond movies do it, Doctor Who does it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole point of having a universe, right?
A little bit. It depends. I think the difference is, right, like, can you understand it if you haven't seen the reference material?
I see.
I also went a little crazy. Stop baiting me, Napalm. The computer is perfect, and if AI was voiced by Mitchell Barrett, we'd be in a better place.
I'm gonna go full tilt here, and let's
finally.
try to.
I wish you freaking would.
I'm creating a new project, and
tilt.
We are going to put the. We're gonna put this to the test.
Thank God. Are we using mine or Figma's or yours? What are we testing?
Nothing. We're gonna start a new project for a minute. And then I need to go in here and clean up the resources just for a second. Under the components folder, layout, I'm going to take all the sidebar stuff so we don't have a menu. So Telerik app bar all the way down to this query and just say body. And then delete all the code in here. So I'm just kind of resetting the space here a little bit.
Do you think there's room in skills for like migration advice? You're going from like template driven forms to signal forms in Angular. These are intermediate steps. This is where we're going. This is the best practices for where we're going, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense, I think.
A great example.
Okay. I'm starting to get it, but I still don't know if especially with the introduction of instructions being a thing now.
Like, especially if you were going from, let's say you're doing Angular and you don't like it anymore and you want to go to Blazor. So you have like a page that you want to convert from Angular to Blazor. You could set up like Here's what you do when you're converting an Angular page to a Blazor page. When you see the
Makes
Kendo
sense.
button component,
We
it's gonna
actually have
be
quite a few
teller
clients that
component.
are struggling with like, we're jQuery, but we want to be Blazor, or we're jQuery, but
Mhm.
we want to be Angular. That would be an interesting.
jQuery, but we want to be anything else.
So I'm gonna run this just so everybody can see what it looks like.
We
Nifty.
wish you would.
Run, and it should. Oops.
I wish you would. Why?
So I'm gonna run this. It should be a pretty empty project. Like it shouldn't have anything but a home page, and it failed. So it's got an error somewhere.
I think whenever you were deleting the panel, maybe, and like you added body stuff, like did we close everything we needed to?
There it is.
What is it
Main layout
saying?
does not implement iDisposable. So yeah, I broke something in here. It's got.
Can't you just ask the AI to fix it? I thought we were vibe coding our way
Wait,
out of this.
it's because you're inheriting something that you're not using that it won't build. That's so nitpicky.
I'm
Are you kidding me?
implementing an interface that I'm not
JavaScript
using, so
could never.
That's how interfaces work. Like they're
JavaScript.
contracts. They're contracts.
JavaScript.
All right.
Do
so-
you
Completely unaware
know
of
that
what you're
I
doing at
all
the
the
same
time
Empty
add
page.
things I'm not actually using? Okay, like
So this is an empty page. Cool. We're good.
Is
We
it?
all-
Okay,
You
all-
have to be
Yeah.
using ESLint or something else, because it will call you out for that.
So now that we have an
Catherine.
empty page and an empty project, I'm gonna open our homepage.
Okay,
again.
calling you out is different from not building. I feel like
Right.
this is a core fundamental in JavaScript.
You're
where
not
it's
using
like,
an aggressive enough linter.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
We'll have plenty of time to chat while this runs. So I'm putting in a pretty hefty one-shot prompt. There's no skills involved. This is only going to use the MCP tool. And I'm going to say build a
Okay.
real estate listing page that includes a dedicated filter UI section. The filter area should be visibly or visually separated from the main property results as a sidebar. Filter must be contextual to the real estate inventory. It has a page. It has a desktop layout using the golden ratio, 2 columns with a filter and filter results. On mobile, it's going to be stacked this way. With a
Where
hide
the
and show
frick did this
button.
prompt come from? Did you generate
created
this
it.
prompt?
Yeah, I generated it and then edited it.
Okay.
Filter UI instructions, it tells it how to build that, how to do the search text box and all of it. So I'm going to fire this off. It's going to take a minute. It's got a lot of work to do.
Will you like copy the whole prompt and put it in chat?
Yeah, you want me to make it just...
I want to
I've got-
read it, and I can't
Hold
read
on,
that.
I have a question for you while it runs, which is only tangential. But you called it a one-shot prompt, and I have always heard that called zero-shot prompting, right? If you
Oh.
put it in with no context or examples, is there like a difference, or are we just? Is that,
I might just
does it
be
just depend on
misspeaking.
whether we're
Like-
counting from base 0 or not?
Sure, let's go with that one. It's a very low context prompt.
Okay.
Like it's
I just
got
want to make sure that
almost
wasn't
no
a technical
context
term
whatsoever.
I was unaware of. That like, okay, but if you give a little bit more than a zero-shot prompt,
It's
you're
not
a
a-
one-shot.
One
It's
shot.
not a
prompt. Yeah,
multi-shot
obviously.
prompt.
I got you.
I stand corrected.
Right. Do your array start at 0?
Let's see.
That's actually a really good question.
Yeah,
Ed, are you
just
zero
this.
based?
In .NET,
You're
we
just
are.
like as a human being.
Yeah, like in your heart.
I
I
need to
am,
know
but-
if you're zero maxing. Are you zero pound?
Do you know where to find a good walk? Right here to- in
Don't
Tablet.
again. I can't hear again.
You didn't make me a gist yet, man. Let's go.
I'm typing as
I need
fast
to-
as I can.
I need to see. I need to like in
I
detail.
couldn't
And
copy
this
and
goes
paste
for
it. I just
any.
rewrote the whole thing by hand. Hang on.
This
I'm
goes
kidding,
for
I didn't do
anyone
that.
in chat. I want to see your prompts, man. I'm a nosy person, and I want to see how you're prompting chat because I feel
Why
like
does it sound illicit when you ask it like that? I want to see your prompts.
What? That is so weird.
Show me.
I pasted
exactly.
I pasted it in public chat, and then I went to paste it also in private chat because you can't click on the URL in private chat
Right.
unless it's in private. It won't let me paste it in private chat.
I'm just gonna
Bizarre.
screenshot it and use, what is it? Screenshot. Dog. OCT?
OCR.
OTC? R.
No.
I got it.
There we go. I had to take the HTTPS off of it to get it to paste
I don't think
inside
I've
the chat.
ever in my life prompted chat with such a lengthy, like, wow. I thought less is more when it comes to prompts.
No.
No, other way
Bad.
around.
No, like, for
Oh my
real.
God. No, for real, other way around. Give it as much
Because-
information as you can.
Because every time okay, get information, yes. Context, yes. Asking it for it to do something. If I give it, like, I need you to do these 10 things in this application, it, like, always either misses one, breaks something that was already working. Like,
I'm going to blow your mind.
Wait,
Hold
what
on.
is it?
We're getting schooled very briefly by Inbox Zero Day, who is telling us there is a difference between zero and one-shot prompting, right? So zero-shot, when you rely mostly on the model's capabilities, right? Like, just do this thing. But one-shot means you have put, I'm assuming that's context and not context, to successfully get a more tailored and sophisticated output.
So would you
in
say
this case,
that what Ed wrote is 1 or 0?
it's got to be 1 with as much
Yeah.
context as you put in.
There's context. Okay.
So,
what would a prompt look like that has no context? What
so
is that?
I'm gonna blow your mind, Alyssa. When you put in like a 1-sentence prompt, like you're like, do whatever, build a page. You don't give it like anything else. You can actually see it doing it now. You used to not be able to really see this, but you see all this like working gibberish. Let me analyze the request carefully, blah, blah, blah. It rewrites that 1 sentence you gave it into an actual prompt anyway. So
it breaks it down.
It's like, there's
into,
not
like, steps.
enough here for me to really do anything. So then it reruns it through, it like does the generative crap on it. And it's like, make this bigger. And that's when you really start seeing hallucinations, because it's like, now the prompt is like 2 paragraphs of stuff. And it's like, I'm going to do this now. And then it goes off and starts working.
I guess what I mean is, like, yesterday I was asking it, I want to implement drag and drop on these things for my workflow. But then I also need you, when you click on an individual workflow item, to add edit capabilities. Oh, and by the way, here's what I want those edit capabilities to look like. And once I did that, everything was gone and nothing rendered, and like the entire layout was broken, and I had like lost all of my progress. And so then what I did was, like, I reverted back, because like Lulz was saying I had, versioned it in Git. So I reverted back, and then I like asked one at a time. Let's do drag and drop. And then let's do edit. And then it was able to actually do it. And so that's what I mean by like overwhelming it with, like, I feel like less is more in that way, not context, but in direction.
Yeah. I mean, I think the difference there is, right, we're conflating 2 things, which is like, more is more when you're giving it context around one specific task. That you were asking it to do 3 tasks kind of all at once. And then there probably wasn't enough context for each individual ask you were making of it.
Okay.
Which you
so by breaking it up, you could just have to write something like a skill sheet, presumably.
even easier, lower barrier
a skill sheet on how to interpret my prompts
Alyssa,
into real prompts.
I'm going to give you a challenge.
Okay, I love it. Tell me.
Stop using agent mode and start using planning mode.
Ooh,
planning
big challenge.
Mode.
Because it sounds like you did worked not well in agent mode, but if you would have done the same thing in planning mode, what planning mode is going to do is, instead of going off and starting to work, it's going to create the big prompt for you and let you like dot all your I's and cross all your T's, so it can get all of the context before it runs. So if you would have put the same thing into planning mode, it would have came back and gave you bulleted like lists of, here's all the steps I need to take to create this. Does this look right? And then you can answer questions about like the implementation of the drag and drop. Like, no, I didn't mean that. I mean, use this library instead to do the drag and drop. Or I meant
if you do plan mode, can you? If you use plan mode, can you still serve it? Like, it's putting it into the file, or
it will either execute from context, or you can have it. There's literally a button that says like, create a file for me, and then you hit the button and it gives you the file. You can go in and edit the steps yourself.
Okay.
You can do both. We can do one in a minute.
Yeah, because I see in Cursor, I am in agent mode, which I didn't realize. But there's also plan, debug, and ask. Do you use ask for
Plan.
coding?
Catherine, I think you
I
use
mean-
Ask a lot.
I do. So Ask is more like your traditional like Chat GPT kind of thing, where it's not actually editing the code for you. I like that.
I thought you could. Can't you just ask it anything anyways, like in any mode?
Yeah, you can.
Or no?
You can ask
You
it and say,
can.
"Don't edit my code," but that's
Yeah,
basically
but
the same thing.
Ask mode
Oh,
actively
no.
prevents it from editing your
From
your
editing.
ish. Oh no.
I got you. What happened?
No, it
No. Hit the length
pooed the
cap.
bed. Why?
I don't
I
know.
don't
if
know what it did
understand
last. I've never seen this, or I mean,
what
I've seen it,
Inbox
but
is
not in a
saying.
long time.
Catherine, do you understand the chain of thought prompting?
Yeah.
Comment?
So what Inbox is kind of saying, right, is that chain of thought prompting is when you kind of have that discussion with it back and forth, like you were talking about, like, show me this, and then no, go back and change this, or then go do this, or I see it, but now it needs to be more pink, or like whatever. But when you're doing that, you're increasing that, like, it's only got a limited context window of like what it can own. And so the longer conversation you have with it, the more stuff starts to kind of fall off the back. And the longer
yes,
a conversation
which is absolutely
goes,
true. Right.
It did
Okay.
nothing.
your chances of hallucination go up the longer you have a back and forth with a model on really anything, right? So when they were saying like a well-planned, like a one-shot, where does it say? I'm scrolling back up. A lot of times really well-designed one-shot prompt can deliver a more complex and functional output because you put everything in one, and so you're not fighting that like iterative back and forth, and there's less chances for hallucinations to creep in, and you're not doing the like one step forward, two step back thing where it went back and changed something, but it wasn't the thing you wanted,
Right.
and like blah, 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 blah. So
Okay.
that makes sense to me. Yeah, and they just added one more. 3 different task groups, context splitting, can't keep all the pieces congruent, planning, thinking, reasoning modes do allow for more polite chains of action. But yeah, they only have a limited amount of like, a model only has so much attention that it can split amongst like all your tokens and tasks and ish. So
While this runs, we could probably look at one.
Yeah.
So
Look at one what?
we'll let that run in the background. Planning mode. So in my SDK,
What is
like, remember I had, so for folks that are just joining, like this is a project I'm actually working on, or I have a skill. That skill bubbles up into a prompt, which I can use in a larger context. And the skill and the prompt are there to help create functional tests. And it creates them one at a time. But what I did is, because I have those small workflows that are really efficient at doing something one at a time, I have a chat history here. And this one says plan for expanding functional tests. So this is one that I actually put into planning mode, Alyssa. Let's
Okay.
full screen this guy. And then I hope this is big enough for everybody to see. But this was the initial prompt for the plan. Notice it's in planning mode down here. So I don't want it to actually go off and do anything. I want it to help me create like a gigantic detailed prompt about what it's going to do. Let's see. Looks like LinkedIn
yeah,
folks got cut off.
just missed that.
I hit some kind of streaming limit. So it says the functional tests are growing to become unmanageable. This is my words, like create a plan for future expansion. So what was happening at this point is I had a folder that had like 6 functional tests in it. And I knew this was going to scale up into probably like 200 tests. And I didn't want 200 files in one directory. That would have been insane. So I said, all right, it's unmanageable at this point. Plan for future expansion. I need tests for the remaining interfaces on my NucleaDB service. Here's the 4 interfaces. It should be easy to find the related tests for each interface, run them as a group. That's all I gave it. And it came back and reviewed like everything that was happening. It asked me questions. How should the tests be organized on disk? How should the tests be grouped when I'm running a set? What should we extract common patterns into a base class? And like I answered all these questions it gave me. So I was like, yes, I want a base class. So, so we're not like repeating patterns and things, and all of that. It looks like it finally completed my other run in the background. So it came back with all this stuff after I answered questions, and then it had a several step process it was going to take, like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then verification. And then it gave me more decisions, and then I answered questions again, and it keeps rewriting this like this giant prompt until it's all done. And then I gave it, one of the things I said was like, keep me in the loop. Like every time you run a phase of creating tests, stop and let me know. And you can see it in the plan, like it actually has an emoji, like stop for review before proceeding. So once all of this, like this plan file is huge. Like everywhere you see that stop emoji, that's like a different section of the plan. So this is a giant markdown file, basically. I can hit open in editor even, and it created the plan file for me to, or it's creating the plan file for me to go edit. So this plan is actually paused right now in between steps. Like it's completed a step, and it's waiting for me to go in and verify that all the code it generated is something I want to keep. And then I'll go back to the prompt days later and say continue. And it's going to find the last step that it did and just pick up where it left off and keep going. So like this giant plan file might be big, but it's breaking it up into chunks as it goes along and doing work on it.
Nice.
So let's see if we've got our real estate app. So it's trying to run it. I'm going to let it run it. I love how the font sizes, like for some reason on the command window are huge, not the rest of it.
It knows you went and changed the code size. It just refuses to change the chat size for unknown reasons.
Yeah. It's trying to run it. I don't know why it's so slow. Should have ran it by now. Let's try it on our own. That's why. I think it was running already. Let's try to run it ourselves. I don't know what it's hung up on. Let me stop it. It ran, let's see, open the browser, and it didn't do what I asked it to do. It gave me a step, there it is. It went under a separate page. I don't know why it created a menu, but it did. Yeah, it did. It actually did really good. So here's the sidebar.
I actually kind of like the separate page.
Yeah.
Where else was this going to go?
I should be able to do the bedrooms and square footage. Oh, those are a little, that's a little wonky. I don't know why we got two.
Oh, I was like min and max maybe.
I don't know. That's a new one.
Like the earliest year built, the oldest year built, that kind of thing.
So we can
it could
filter.
Be, but the dot's not moving correctly. You got some.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, there's two bars instead of one.
Yeah, it's got like a split down the middle.
Twice.
So and it could be a min-max thing.
Did the weird curly brace thing too.
I didn't like even know our sliders could do that.
It's probably two sliders.
It's just two side-by-side sliders.
But I wanted to do this example.
In a trench coat.
Because let's pretend that these slide in a trench coat. I love it. Let's pretend that like these two, this filter thing came out perfect, and I love it. And that,
yes.
Let's pretend that it's great, right?
Yeah.
Which it does come out good most of the time. I don't know why it's.
No, it's pretty. Today. I mean,
but like you're like in. But like you're in plan mode, right? So you can tell it like what up with your slider trench coat, and then it can like.
I can
Please ask it exactly that. I think we've discovered why Alyssa's having trouble prompting.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean, and I take insult.
So
I was dying at the thought of you being like, what up with the slider trench coat? And GPT being like, I've never seen those words in that order before.
So in here I've got,
little do you know, I'm training all the models.
Single-handedly responsible for AI hallucination.
Let's pretend
You're
our
welcome.
filter section was like amazing, and that is something we're going to need to do in another app at some point, or maybe just
Okay.
another page in this app. And we don't want to reuse the same one, but we want to reuse that same coding pattern. Like I've got this filter sidebars right here. I could go into chat here and just say create a skill that
I see.
to create this filter UI. Let's just do something that simple. And then I should get a skill. So whenever I, work on another client's project and they're like, I need this filtering mechanic, I can just come in with my skill and say, generate a filter sidebar, and it's going to know exactly like what that means. So now I don't have to keep.
I see.
So that's where I was trying to get like the granularity of it. Like every component doesn't need a skill, but this group of components that makes up a filter UI, like that would be a killer skill. So let's do that.
And there are times when you do find nirvana where you're like peer coding with AI, and then you're like, you modify something and then it modifies something and you're like, it's perfect. So I feel like to be able to encapsulate that in a pattern and use it later is really valuable. I can see now how skills came about. I don't know if they'll remain around forever. I feel like we're kind of muddying.
No, none of this is going to remain around. We're just not in a dismissive way, but we're just so early in this technology that we're not going to have long-term best practices. It's going to iterate and evolve so fast. Skills are the best way to communicate that information right now, but who knows? I've had to eat my words about 1,000 times in the last 2 years, but I would eat my hat if we're still using skills a year from now in the same way that we are now.
It was instruction files like not just a month ago. It was like instruction files are the best thing ever.
My husband was so mad because I was telling him, I was like, yeah, we're going to go on and stream about skills. We've been getting a lot of requests for them. And he was like, WTF, mate, what happened to MCP servers? And I was like, no, I mean, they're kind of still, they do overlap. Right.
MCP
but he was
totally different.
just, I guess, frustrated at how quickly it's all moving still. Like it's still really...
There are honestly too many terms that mean like the same like mode of operation. Like all of this is like you write a prompt and some task is going to happen and code will result. Like those 3 steps are happening no matter what we're talking about. And then you have instruction files, you have prompts, you have skills, you have MCPs, you have function calling. Like they all do those 3 steps, but they do it in a different way. And they all are part of some different part of the system. So just kind of to recap for everybody, like if you go top down, you've got like your basic prompting. And then if you want some global instructions that kind of give the AI context of information about your project and maybe libraries that are used in it, you can step down into the instructions file. And you can have multiple of those, by the way. You have multiple instruction files. If you want something that is super granular and does one thing really, really well and repeatable, you have a skill. If you want to reach out to a third-party service for extra context for something, and that can be many different things, you have MCP servers. And sometimes those inject context, sometimes they do activities, all sorts of stuff goes on there. Like it is very confusing, but like all these things do have a purpose. There might be like a Venn diagram where some of them overlap in some ways, but they do all serve a purpose. And I think MCPs are really interesting. There is a lot of fun stuff that you can do with that. I'm building a course for Dome Train right now that talks about creating your own MCP servers and some of the stuff that you can do with that. So in the courseware that I'm creating, you create a GPT style interface, and then you create an MCP server. You consume one first, actually. And what you do is there's a really cool one that you can try out. GitHub has an MCP server. You can add it right into Copilot or whatever cursor or whatever tool you're using. And you can query any random GitHub repo that's public. So you can say, all right, for the repo that I'm working on, how many open issues are there? And right inside the chat window, it'll just say like, there's 5 open issues, and you can dig into those however you want without visiting GitHub and tabbing through every issue. Like you can just sit there and ask questions. You can even say like, prioritize the issues. Use sentiment analysis to decide which issue is the most important. So if somebody's really upset and angry, and you could see that in their text, like it'll pick that out and it'll be like, Alyssa's really upset that such and such feature isn't working, and this is probably a really high priority for whatever reason she gave. So you can use an MCP server that way, which doesn't feel like coding, right? And the next step is to like write your own MCP server that reaches out to a fictitious database that has your employee capacity in it. So you're like, all right, now I've got GitHub and my issues. Assign developers to these tasks based on their open, their open schedule to work. And it can come back and say, this person has this many hours open this week. They can probably complete this task, and it'll cost this much money because in the database, like we have their hourly rates. So it like does this whole thing like where it interacts with these 2 different MCP servers and gives you like an executive summary of all the things that they do. And then you could plug agents into that workflow and say, all right, now that I have an executive summary, build a podcast based on this executive summary, ship that MP3 file out to a server so the CEO can like be part of our daily stand-up without us actually having to like do one and record it. Like they'll on their ride to work.
If the case you're making for AI is that we get to stop having sprint planning meetings, kind of think I'm in.
So now you'll get a podcast that your boss can listen to on the way to work, and it's like, these people are being assigned to complete these issues. It's going to cost this many dollars, take this many hours, and it tells you like why the issues are important and what they do for your product and why you should fix those first. And it's like really interesting stuff that you can plug all these things together, and it doesn't always relate back to like coding or generating text. Like you can do much more with it. But that might be a good place to start.
All right. Well, I'm going to drop in the chat before we leave the Discord. So y'all should know. I think I hyped it once briefly when we were getting started, but for anyone who's joined since then, we have a Progress Labs Discord. We hang out in there all the time. If you enjoyed hanging with us today, the fun doesn't have to stop here. You can be subjected. You could be subjected to us at all times. You could ask us questions. You could talk about what we're working on. If anything we chatted about here is something that like you want to pick Ed's brain on, or I don't know, you want to talk to me more about Star Trek? That seemed to be all I contributed today.
This is actually a good question to bring into Discord. Like we can answer more thoroughly there, and we can provide links and things, which is hard to do in a live stream. So please drop by, ask the same question.
And we're planning on doing like more live stream type events in Discord. And so if there's any particular questions that are recurring, we can generate events based off of that to basically produce more content in the direction that you guys went. So,
and I think my plan, and you can echo this if you want, teammates. I'm going to be in there earlier than my live streams when I schedule them. So like when I'm getting set up, I'll be in there to chat with folks, and you'll get to see kind of behind the scenes, the sausage being made. And
and I know all of us will be there right after this. So all that being said, thanks y'all. That was cool. That was helpful.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
See you around.